Thank you. Hey, thank you. Thank you. All right, thanks so much. I appreciate that round of applause. It always puts a smile on my face. I'll admit that the smile doesn't last long because what I'm here to cover is really serious stuff. But if we are giving out a round of applause, how about a huge one for the person that made this happen, Mrs. Bernadas? She deserves it. All right, I talk fast, I move around even faster, I have one speed, I run off enthusiasm, and we only have 29 minutes. This is gonna fly by. Now, there are two ways to participate. I am a huge fan of class participation. The first, most encouraged way to get involved is if I ask you a question, I'm gonna look for you to raise your hand. I don't need voices, I just need hands. At the very end of the presentation, I'll need your voice. You'll know when that moment comes. But let's practice now. How many people here at Lexington Catholic, when they graduate from this school, want to go off to college? Let me see those hands. All right, anybody have any other plans other than college? They want to get into the real world, get a job, maybe backpack through Europe, possibly a trade school, anything else? All right, a few hands there. Point is, you've got a plan. You know exactly what you want to do when you graduate from here. That's the best, most encouraged way to get involved. Here's the other. Got two guys in the back talking amongst themselves. Somebody in the middle, I think, has got ear pods on, and somebody to my left keeps looking down, maybe at a phone. So that means I have to stop. And I'm not here for me. I'm not here for Mrs. Bernadas. I'm here for you. And when I say you, I mean all of you. So if there's a little distraction out there, that means it forces us to stop. And so I'll say, don't just distract that little section. Let me get a couple more chairs. I'll bring you up on stage. You can distract everybody all at once. Now, good luck in that conversation with your principal when you're the one that stops this presentation and I got to bring you up here. And you're going to think I'm embarrassing you. No, you're embarrassing yourself. Let's avoid that option. See, the job of an agent, which is what I am, is to give advice. My advice is let's stick to the first option. It's an assembly. You're out of class. It's supposed to be fun. It's definitely supposed to be educational. Those are the only ground rules. All right, let's get into who I am, why I'm here. I'm a Major League Baseball agent. I have over 20 years experience in sports and in entertainment. I represent over 75 players, including guys on the Reds, Major League All-Stars. I represent the player and their family. But I don't work exclusively with baseball, because when that player or that family wants to go to the Super Bowl, the Final Four, they want to go to the NASCAR race, the Kentucky Derby, it doesn't matter if it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, track and field, cross country, soccer, you name the sport, they call me to go get access and tickets to it. So I have to get to know agents and managers and publicists across all sports, but it's not just sports. Because when that player has a day off in New York City against the Yankees, they want to go to a Broadway show. When they're in Los Angeles playing the Dodgers and they've got that day off, they want to check out the exact same show that you binge watch. They want to get the behind-the-scenes tour of where it all happens. And then, of course, the concerts, right? Some of the biggest stars on the planet. They're playing up there where the Bengals play. 80,000 fans packed into a stadium. It's not only my job to get tickets in the first couple of rows. They want to meet that superstar backstage after it's over. That's what I do for a living. And I have to come through on all of it. So I have to know agents, managers, publicists, even record label executives across all of the arts. And I tell you none of this to brag about myself. That's not why I say it. I tell you this because when I get together with some of those superstars, their agents and managers will get coffee or lunch, we'll always talk about the same thing: character. How everything our clients have worked for since they were your age, the fame, the fortune, the success, it can all disappear that fast based on this weapon. See, this isn't a phone anymore, it's a weapon. And you, just like those superstars, you can hold it in your hands and access it from your fingertips at any moment without even thinking. I think that makes you exactly like whatever celebrity you look up to. Why? Because sure, the fame, the fortune, the success, that's what's on the line for them every moment of every day. What's on the line for you? You've already told me. You raised your hand. You want to go off to college, get a job, whatever you put your hand up for, that is on the line for you every single moment of every day, based on how you interact with each other, without question, on this. So that's what we're going to cover here today. All right, let me get a better feel for this room. How many people here, again, let's just see by a show of hands, how many people here are country music fans? Any country music fans here? All right, we got a few. So you would know who Stapleton is, right? Any fans of Morgan Wallen? Where are those hands? Any Swifties in here? Wow, I mean, there was a day that she made like $4 billion with a B last year. Anyway, how about Kendrick fans? We got any Kendrick fans? All right, it seems like Kendricks get the most amount of the results. All right, so there's a reason why I picked those four. The message you're getting today is the exact same message those stars get, because when I talk about agents, managers, publicists, the record label executives, it's literally of those four superstars that I deal with all the time. I think it's pretty unique that you're getting a chance to hear the same message that they hear. I told you, I'm an agent. I represent 75 clients. I'm not the only agent in this room. I think every single one of you, you're an agent too. Only difference between us is you have one client. Who's your one client? It's yourself. Heard it right over to there first. If you don't know the pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, likes, dislikes, inside and out of the one person you represent, you're probably going to fail both of you. The fundamental number one rule to being an agent is honesty. You always need to be honest with yourself. And the job of an agent, I mentioned it a moment ago, it's to give advice. You're going to give yourself advice every moment of every day. Starts with the ABCs. We'll begin with accountability. Now, let's say you're horsing around in the hallway or in the cafeteria, on the back athletic fields. Your principal sees you, tells you to go to the office, comes in and challenges you to take some accountability. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about accountability. What's your ability? Every single one of you, you're a superstar at something. You're better than that person sitting to your left or right, the front or back, better than everybody in this auditorium, this school, this community. What is it? And this has nothing to do with academics, athletics, or extracurriculars. I'll even give you an example. When I was in your position, when I was in high school, even back to middle school, the yearbook comes out at the end of the year, I won the same superlative twice. Most talkative. And here I am, 30 years later, I'm still the most talkative person at any school I ever go to. That was my ability. I was the best talker. What's yours? It could be something that simple. You have one homework assignment this morning, and that is before you walk out of these doors today, come up with that one ability that separates you from everybody, because you're going to account for it here at Lexington Catholic, college, the job, in life, but it is going to be what separates you from everyone else. Let's talk balance, go back to more Q&A. How many people in this room like to play video games? Where are those hands? All right. How about watch TikTok or Instagram Reels? Okay. Well, here, I'm going to say something that's definitely going to get Mrs. B, your principal, every educator in this room mad at me. I think it's awesome. I think it's great that you like to watch TikTok and Instagram, play some video games. I've got players that do the same thing. It's part of your day. If you need a couple of minutes to just go do that on your own to clear your head, I'm okay with it. How many people in here are athletes? Let me see those hands. That's a lot of you. Wow. How about people that would take this stage, the artists, the musicians, back of the house, making all of this happen? Who's in the performing arts? Okay. Anybody have a part-time job yet? Where are those hands? Who's involved in clubs and activities here in school or maybe outside of them? All right. That's a lot of hands. How about people that have to go home and have a list of chores or responsibility that they don't want to do, right, that your parents give you? Your hands are going up for so many of these questions. Now, there's only 24 hours in a day. And I didn't say anything about being here for 8 of them. I didn't mention homework or eating or sleeping, but I got a lot of hands going up. Well, how do you break up your 24 hours? See, 24 hours in that day, I argue there's really only 16 because we all know you're going to sleep 8 of them. How much time is being wasted on TikTok and video games? How little time is being invested in doing a little homework or studying for the test or maybe just getting a good night's rest? Now, you have one client. Who's the client? It's yourself. So stop blaming your teachers, your parents, your principal, your coach. No one is in charge of that 24 hours except you. And why am I really here? It is C, it is character, it is vital to your one client, especially with social media and bullying. Let's start with social media. You have to be aware of what you post, like, dislike, and comment on. Why? Social media in this extremely dangerous weapon. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I'm not saying they're going to happen to you or your friend or even here at Lexington Catholic, but I gave this speech, this lecture, to over 150 schools in 19 states last year alone. I know what's going on out there at other schools across the country. So I'll give you an example from what's happening out there, and we'll call it the real world. Let's say the new album drops, right? We'll use Kendrick or Drake. We'll use any one of the rappers. There's rap everywhere. You go to the basketball game, rap's being played at halftime. You go to a friend's house, somebody's got rap music on in the background. So let's just say Kendrick drops the new song, right? And nowadays we listen to the music on our phones and the lyrics scroll up and you can pay attention to the lyrics and sing along. And so you decide to screenshot that one song. You're going to text it off to 2 or 3 friends and say, hey, did you see that this new album, this song that Kendrick dropped? And you're so excited about it that when you screenshotted that and sent it off to somebody and you didn't realize that Kendrick uses the N-word in that song lyric, that's not his song anymore. That's not his lyric. That's not his thought. It's yours. And you decided to share the use of that word to somebody else. And whether you're the one that sent it or received it, when that outside world finds out about that, doesn't matter if you are white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, Native American, the way that outside world is going to judge you, right or wrong, for using that language is as a racist. Now, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen to you or a friend or here at Lexington Catholic. I'm just giving you an example from out there what happens. Here's another one. Who hates being on camera? Who does not like to be in pictures or in videos? Well, it's good that everybody's comfortable with it because there are 3 cameras right here, maybe 4 in this auditorium recording my every move and yours too. Cameras are everywhere. You know, you walk down the hallway, camera. You're going to run over to the Chick-fil-A or the Starbucks. There's always a camera, and you never know when it's rolling. So let's say you're over at a friend's house, and somebody's making a TikTok video. You don't know the camera's on, but everybody's having a good time. And then someone shouts out, "This is so gay." Well, you and I both know that they didn't pull out a dictionary and use the definition of cheerful. You know exactly how it was intended, and that's homophobic. And if it wasn't bad enough in my last example to be a racist, now that outside world, right or wrong, fair or unfair, and it's not just the one person who said it, it's everybody in that video, must be homophobes. And so the way that world, you know, the college you want to go to, that job you want to get, when they start doing their research on you in this school, and they say, hey, what are the students over there at Lexington Catholic like? Have you seen their social media? Do you follow any of this? They're racist homophobes. But like I said, seems unrealistic. It's not going to happen to you or happen here. You know, one thing I always like to know, especially when your principal's in the building, I'm sure he also would like to know, is who's proud to raise their hand high and say, I'm a good reader. I like to read. We're in trouble. That's it. There's like 3 people in the school that knows how. Who knows how to read? Let's start there. Okay, unanimous. So good job, mom and dad. And obviously every educator. All right, let's ask this though. Who says, I'm a really good reader? I'm proud to say I know how to read well. This is kind of my thing. All right, great. Of all those people that put their hands up, I need one volunteer to read something up here on this stage. Who is it? Who's daring enough? Let me see it. And don't point to your friend. Oh, right here. Didn't even hesitate. Come on up. Big round of applause right here. Good job. All right. Good work. What's your first name?
Walker.
Walker, all right. How about another big round of applause for Walker? All right, did a great job. All right. Walker, my first question is, do you know what you just signed up for? No. Oh, that's daring. I got to tell you, that's, seriously, that's daring to get up here and be on the stage in front of friends and peers, and, you know, it's a lot. And I will tell you, I think that's leadership. That shows me, it shows Mrs. B, it shows your principal, it shows every student that you're a leader. And I'm the type of guy that rewards leadership because it's hard to be a leader in today's world. It's so easy to be a follower. Anyone can follow. Not everyone can lead. So just as a little thank you for starters, here's a little Chick-fil-A gift card for being up here as a leader. All right, we're not done, though. I got to put you to work here. So I said, you know, great leaders, hard to find. But the reality is if you've got a great leader like Walker, you're going to get outstanding followers. Now, I brought you all the way up here. I really don't need one volunteer. I actually need 5 more, so who are they? 2, 3, 4, 5 sitting down, come on up. Yep, right there in the back. Yep, come on up. And 6. 6, you want to come up? Yep, come on up. 6. How about a big round of applause for all these volunteers? Walker, I'm going to bring you down here. I'll put you right here. Put you right here. All right, come on up. Let's make a straight line next to Walker. Go in that. It's Walker, right?
Yep.
Okay, go in that direction. All right, come on up. All right, how are we short? 2, 3. Let's have you switch. Go to the end. forward. Did you not want to come up? Yeah, come on up. Put your hand up, come on up. All right. So, again, I don't think anybody knows what's coming next, but I got 6 great volunteers. And in my opinion, a moment ago, I was trying to beg somebody to put their hand up, right? Everybody was a little hesitant. Then we got Walker and that leadership, and then I saw so many hands go up. That's a big point here, that great leaders will always have outstanding followers. How about a huge round of applause for all of these leaders? Great work. I'm going to have you come on the end. Yep, Walker's first. All right, so Walker, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to turn this microphone on. Okay, I'm going to hand you that. And this isn't made up. This is a real-life, real-world example. And Walker, I'm going to ask you to take the very first bullet point. You're going to read it nice and loud, nice and slow. When you're done, you pass the microphone on. Let's be careful of the cord, not trip and fall off the stage. And let's just knock out each of these slides, each of these bullet points on this slide, because this happened at a school so similar to yours, to a student so similar to you. This is a real-life, real-world example. All right, Walker, go ahead and take that first one.
A female freshman high school student sent a private Snapchat to a friend where she used a racial slur. The video was then circulated and saved by another student who was a male African American.
Okay, next one, please. Let's pass that down. Nice and loud, nice and loud.
The female student said that the word she used in the Snapchat was in all the songs we listened to.
Okay, next, please.
What she said in the Snapchat to her friend was, "I can drive," N-word.
Next.
It wasn't until her senior year, 3 years later, after she was accepted into the University of Tennessee and onto its national champion cheer team, that the post reemerged.
I'm going to call a quick timeout. You're all doing great. Just hang on. I don't need the mic. So let's start with the student and the Snapchat. It's supposed to disappear, right? Goes away in 24 hours. The Instagram reel goes away the next day. Nothing gets deleted. Nothing goes away. I don't care if you swipe left, delete, you try to untag your name from that post. How do I know nothing goes away? Because I've got players that are on the verge of signing guaranteed multi-million-dollar contracts, and the first thing the team does is check their history. What did they post, like, dislike, and comment on in high school, all the way back to middle school? No different than that college or that job that you're trying to apply for or get. They're going to dig into your past. They're going to look to see what did you post, like, dislike, and comment on, and there are always ways to find that deleted post. She then spends her entire high school life, right? She uses this word in the Snapchat video and then spends her entire life getting to a point where she earns a scholarship onto a national champion cheer team. And a 3-second Snapchat from 3 years earlier, her freshman year, which was supposed to be deleted, somehow reemerges. Let's continue, please, with after the female student went.
After the female student went to Instagram to voice her support of the Black Lives Matter movement, following the George Floyd protests, the African-American student who saved the video shared the original Snapchat on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and called out her racist behavior.
Good job. Next, please.
It led to thousands of...
Go ahead. You're doing great.
I'm sorry, I get it.
Go ahead. You got it.
I started laughing.
Go ahead. That's okay. You're doing great. That's all right.
It led to thousands of students.
That's all right. Do you want to pass it over?
Sure.
All right. Go ahead. Go again for her.
It led to thousands of students nationwide calling out that female student for her use of the N-word. It resulted in public pressure on the university, as first her spot on the team was revoked, and then the college gave the student the choice of withdraw or Tennessee would take back its offer.
She withdrew from the college, now 20 years old, and literally living at home with mom and dad. Mother said that the entire experience vaporized 12 years of her daughter's hard work and, quote, unfortunately going to affect her for the rest of her life. If you think that those examples I gave you from the real world were made up, can't happen to you, a friend, a teammate, a classmate here at Lexington Catholic, if you truly believe you are that invincible to this type of consequence, you're begging to be the next student to suffer it. This happens every moment of every day. And think about that video that you're in and you can't remove your face from. Think about that post that you're a part of. Your name's tagged to it. You can't get it off of. When this type of behavior goes down, your face, your name is associated to it, you're going down with it. And that college, that job, whatever you raised your hand for, it is going to disappear that fast based on that behavior. You have one client. You have to look out for number one. You have to look out for yourself. Please be aware of how dangerous this is and that it is your future that's on the line every moment of every day. How about a huge round of applause for our volunteers? They did great. You can head on back. All right, I'll take that mic. You can head on down. Great work. Great job. Thank you. Here, let's make sure you don't trip on that. Go ahead. So I'm going to slow down here for a minute, and I want to talk about that story. So we know about three main characters, right? We know about the young lady who used the word and then lost everything, the scholarship, it all disappeared, 20 years old, living at home, mom and dad. We know about the African-American student who was offended, understandably, rightfully so. And then there's the person who got the Snapchat. Well, we know nothing about that person. We literally know zero about the person who got the Snapchat, except this. They weren't brave enough to do anything about it. See, you live in this world where if you see something, you've got to say something. You hear someone, you got to tell someone. Being brave is not easy. I work in sports. It is overused in sports so often. Being brave is sharing information with an adult. So I wonder, how many of you get that same word-for-word Snapchat? How many of you are brave enough to tell one of the adults in this room? Probably not many. You know, I gave this lecture once in Boise, Idaho. I will never forget it. It was to a group of freshman and sophomore students. And about an hour after the presentation was over, a student, much like you, went to social media and made the following comment. She wrote, "Blood ain't gonna get me to snitch." And I'll never forget that word-for-word line. Now, I guess I'm blood, and she thinks that me saying being brave is snitching. So I'm going to try to give you a better real-life example right here in Lexington. So let's just say that you're heading over to Malone's for dinner, right? Or you're going out with a couple of friends, and you're heading over to there, and a fight breaks out in the parking lot. And you recognize it's a couple of students from school. And so now here's this fight, and this poor student's getting beat up, and nobody's stopping to break up the fight because everybody's too busy videoing it. But in that moment, that person who's getting beat up is a victim. Now, I told you, there's cameras everywhere. There's going to be cameras outside that Malone's, and it is going to see that fight, but it's also going to see you there. Or let's say you run into the Starbucks to grab a coffee, and you see somebody at that corner table that you recognize from school, and they're making one of those accounts, you know, the fake one on this that has no name and no face, so they could try to terrorize somebody in this room or in this school. Well, now we're going to have another victim as a result of that humiliation. And at that Starbucks, that camera is going to see you there. So in both examples, you're a witness to what would be a crime. And so what's going to happen is the police are going to confiscate the footage, and they're going to talk to Malone's, and they're going to talk to the Starbucks, and they're going to identify you as a student that goes here, and you are the key eyewitness to the investigation, because the camera really can't see who is beating the person up or making the fake account, but you can. So that when the school gets called, and it's not just going to be the school, it's going to be you and your parents, and everybody's going to have a big meeting down at the sheriff's or the police station. And when they say, look, all we need is for you to give us the name. We just need to know who did it. We need you to be brave in this spot. In that moment where you just represent yourself, you have a choice to make. You can either help out, give the police the name, do the right thing, and assist in the investigation, or you can be like the student from Idaho that says, I ain't no snitch. Well, if you choose to do that, if you choose not to give up that name, who knows what the next outcome is? Maybe because you're an uncooperative witness to this criminal investigation, that sheriff has to call the school and say, you know, we recommend that you suspend the student. Or worse off, maybe they have to arrest you. Could you imagine getting arrested for something as simple as not doing the right thing and being brave and stepping up where you and your leadership is needed? And let's be realistic. If this person that got beat up was your brother or sister, or the one that got absolutely humiliated on this was your best friend in the world, you'd hope somebody in this room was brave enough to step up and help. Now, I ain't here to tell you to do anything, but every single one of you, you represent yourself. And the only person who could decide how brave your one client is in any moment at any time is you. It's no different than Volunteering in your community. Now, we're a little short on time, so I don't have the chance to go into, this is a school that gives back. It's part of the requirement to get out there and make a difference. Volunteer, special needs organizations, animal rescue, whatever it is that allows you to go out there and make a difference, it is needed more than ever. And you want to go off to college, get that job, they're going to look at your GPA and your athletics and your extracurriculars. That shows who you are on the outside. Who are you on the inside? Are you the person that's going to give back, go out, pay it forward, make a difference? Are you the person who is selfless and kind every day? Every moment walking down these hallways, and when the bell rings and you're outside of school, are you the one who's selfless and kind or selfish and mean? Which one are you? You're the only one who gets to decide. Are you selfless and kind to the other students, to the educators, the teachers, the administration, the coaches, or again, selfish and mean? The only person who can make that decision every moment of every day is you. And I will tell you, that college, that job, it's not too far down the road. And when you get off onto that college campus as the 18-year-old freshman surrounded by older kids, seniors, 21-year-old men and women, you're going to hope they're a lot more selfless and kind to you than selfish and mean. And again, the only person who gets to decide which one you want to be is you. All right, where are those athletes? It was so many people in this room. Raise those hands high. All right, thank you. Let's put those down for a second. Where are the people that take the stage? Artists, musicians, those that are in the performing arts? Not nearly as many. Well, I will tell you, if anybody deserves a huge round of applause, taking the stage isn't easy. How about a big round of applause for all of our performing artists? They don't hear it enough. They don't hear it enough. All right, I have a challenge for all the athletes. I've been in athletics for almost 30 years. I'm around some of the best baseball players literally in the world. So if the athlete expects people to come to their game, and it doesn't matter what level you're at, you expect people to come to your game, cheer you on, you get to wear the jerseys down the hallway or maybe some of the gear, you want people to high-five you, chant your name. I mean, I get the ego of the athlete. So if you expect the entire school to come support you, when's the last time you came into this auditorium and sat in those seats and supported these folks? Or people in other clubs and organizations? Because you kind of raised your hand earlier to, I like this artist or that artist. It doesn't matter who your favorite artist is. But the reality is, you probably would want to go and support the artists that take the stage and sing songs, right? You always see the athletes and the rappers or the singers, country music stars, they all get together, dab each other up. Why is it any different here? So if they're supporting each other at the professional level, and for every athlete, you probably have a pro you emulate, and I'm telling you the pros want to go to the concerts, then how about we start supporting the people that have concerts and plays here? I can only imagine the energy in this room if the boys and girls basketball teams showed up to the winter concert of the spring play. And these people might look familiar because you saw them earlier. That's Stapleton, that's Taylor Swift, and this is your boy Kendrick when he was 18 years old and a senior in high school. So if this is who they were when they were in your position, and I know if any one of them were on this stage today, the line would be literally to Louisville to get in. How about we start supporting the next literally Stapleton or Taylor or Kendrick who you're going to school with right now? I'm just asking the athletes, if you expect people to support you, the power and the influence and the excitement that you could create by supporting others, that's how you make one Lexington Catholic. And then the last thing I could say all day as we wrap this up is bullying, unacceptable behavior, real and tragic epidemic in our society, your job, and that's everybody's job. Your job is to lead, not follow, in anti-bullying initiatives. Now I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I got here early, I was off in the corner, I saw everybody coming in, I feel for the people that are sitting on the sides, but I see where everybody had a chance to sit, who they sat next to, and I'm just over here and I'm taking it all in. And I'll tell you, I'll be really straight with you right now. What's going through my mind before any presentation as I survey the room, as I say to myself, I wonder if anybody in here is a bully. Now, I wouldn't know if anybody were. But, and I have to truly say, I really hope at a school like this where I've heard so many great things that nobody is a bully. But I don't know. I know who would know, all the students. But the truth is, in today's world, we already covered the difference between selfless and kind and selfish and mean. Which person are you? Because for all of those people who choose to be selfish and mean, that want to go out there and bully these hallways or in this community, I told you you're going to be an 18-year-old freshman on a college campus, and there's always going to be a 21-year-old man or woman adult who's going to tease you, haze you, bully you beyond your wildest dreams. And you're going to lay in bed at night as that freshman wondering, why is this happening to me? How did you treat people here, in this room, in this school, in this community, when you had a choice, you had a chance to lead in anti-bullying instead of continuing to be a bully? You know what that person's name out there, that 21-year-old man and woman adult who's going to actually make that come full circle? It's called karma. It's real. And if you choose to be the selfish and mean one, it's coming for every single one of you. But I don't want to end this presentation on talking about bullies. I want to talk to anyone who feels maybe like they're bullied. And that could be a whole lot of you. And I will say that every single one of you, we have an ability. We already covered that. But you all also have two things inside, and I know you have it. One's courage and the other is confidence. How do I know? It takes courage to wake up and come to Lexington Catholic every single morning. So you got the courage box checked. And I know you got confidence because everybody has an ability and does something great. So you're going to have some swagger to it. So courage, confidence, ability, you're going to combine it to make it one. And the sooner you commit to that combination, the sooner the bullying ends. Now I got one more slide to show you, and this, I told you I need your voice. This is where I need to hear your voice. I want to know if this student went to this school, if they were walking down these hallways, do you think there might be one bully? I just need one. Do you think it's possible that one bully student, one selfish and mean student, would call this kid a dork? Yes? Yeah? And here, I should say this. If you think the answer is yes, say yes. Just participate. Would they call him a dork? Yes? Might they call him a loser? Yes? Possibly even fat? Yes? I agree. I think this student walking down these hallways, there's one selfish, mean, bully student that would call them a fat dork loser. And it doesn't stop when the bell rings or when they get off the bus. Why? This weapon. This is where the bully lives now. This is where the bully attacks. And it's on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or group threads. This is where we watch the bullying play out more than ever. And that boy or that girl, high school, middle school, even across the street at the elementary school, they are taking the most extreme, heart-wrenching, of permanent, irreversible decisions to make the bullying stop permanently. And that's a tragedy, based on a bullying behavior that was a choice by someone and could have been avoided. And the reason why I know so much about courage and confidence and ability, and how I could say to you, it is about making that combination real, is do you know what happened to the fat dork loser in these pictures in that story? He came here to Lexington Catholic to share this. That's me in those pictures. And I am living proof to every single one of you who feel like you are bullied this much, that it's not about how and where you start here, but rather how and where you go in your journey out there. Every single one of you, you're agents. You represent one client, and you're literally writing the life story of that client. You're all holding the pen. How do you want to tell the rest of it? That is entirely and exclusively up to you. So for every student, every teacher, every educator, every administrator, every parent, you're one Lexington Catholic. And you've got to come together to stop being part of any bullying problem and be the solution. I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. B. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great rest of the school year. Thank you.
You want to do a couple questions?
Yeah, and then also I'll stick around if kids want to take pictures or whatever.
Okay.
Like I'm fine with it.
All right, can we give him one more round of applause?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We've got a few minutes until the bell rings. I'm just going to have you walk around. They can ask questions and you raise
Yeah,
your hand.
yeah.
We've just got a few minutes. If you guys want to talk to Mark, ask a question, raise your hand. Just put your hand up and he can come by and talk to you for a few minutes. We want to ask him anything. If not, we'll just go back to class. We'll go on to class.
Yeah, and I don't think you're allowed to have your phones in here, right? Yeah, I was going to say, I'm all about taking pictures. I will say this. If anybody has a picture, I know that, look, in all fairness to Mrs. B, you were such an unbelievable audience. I mean, you were so locked in, you paid attention. I appreciate it. All right, so it's hard to ask questions, and then everybody asks, who's the most famous person in your phone? Can you dunk a basketball? I can't, but I can knock down threes. But the reality is, I really like to answer questions about what we covered. So what I'll do is when that bell rings, I will stay here. And if somebody wants to come up and ask a question or tell a story, I'm here for you. That's why I came here today. But I get it's always a little challenging to ask it in front of everyone. So if anybody deserves another round of applause, how about one for Mrs. B for putting this together? It was just awesome. It was awesome. So I say we let them kind of hang out, and if anybody wants to come up. Yeah, if anybody. So hang out, enjoy amongst yourselves, and I'll be up here if anybody wants to chat. So do we got athletes here? I saw some of those hands up. I will. Baseball? What position you play? Yeah, can you hit? If you hit, you don't sit. That's the key. You know, and I'm shocked that you're a second baseman because you have like a catcher's frame. A lot of second basemen becomes catchers in pro ball. That's awesome.